Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Jaya Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirye Nashtuprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 11, King Indra annihilates the demons. Text number 7 onwards. Shri Balirvacha Sangrame Vartamanana Kala Chodit Karmanam Kirtir Jayo Ajayo Mrityu Sarvesham Shur Anukrima. So yesterday we saw how King Indra is about to shoot his thunderbolt at Bali Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj now standing in front of Indra, now he's speaking to Indra like this. Bali Maharaj replied, all those present on this battlefield are certainly under the influence of eternal time. And according to the prescribed activities, they are destined to receive fame, victory, defeat, and death, one after another. Purport. If one is victorious on the battlefield, he becomes famous. And if one is not victorious but is defeated, he may die. Both victory and defeat are possible, whether on such a battlefield as this or on the battlefield of the struggle for existence. Everything takes place according to the laws of nature. Since everyone, without exception, is subject to the modes of material nature, whether one is victorious or defeated, he is not independent, but is under the control of material nature. Bali Maharaj, therefore, was very sensible. He knew that the fighting was arranged by eternal time and that under time's influence one must accept the results of one's own activities. Therefore, even though Indra threatened that he would now kill Bali Maharaj by releasing the thunderbolt, Bali Maharaj was not at all afraid. This is the spirit of a Kshatriya. Yuddhe cha api apalayana. A Kshatriya must be tolerant in all circumstances, especially on the battlefield. Thus, Bali Maharaj asserted that he was not at all afraid of death, although he was threatened by such a great personality as the king of heaven. And Bali Maharaj is saying, everything goes by time, everything is arranged by time, nothing is in our control. Tad idam kala rashanam jagat pashyanti suraya na hrisyanti na shochanti tatra yuyam panditaha. Seeing the moments of time, those who are cognizant of the real truth neither rejoice nor lament for different circumstances. Therefore, because you are jubilant due to your victory, you should be considered not very learned. So everything changes. Everything is temporary. The Bali Maharaj is saying, you're very happy because you're victorious. It's not very learned. Bali Maharaj knew that Indra, king of heaven, was extremely powerful, certainly more powerful than he himself. Nonetheless, Bali Maharaj challenged Indra by saying that Indra was not a very learned person. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna rebuked Arjuna by saying, Ashocyananno shochastam pragyavadansh bhashase. While speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. Thus, as Krishna challenged Arjuna by saying that he was not a Pandit or a learned person, Bali Maharaj also challenged King Indra and his associates. In this material world, everything happens under the influence of time. Consequently, for a learned person who sees how things are taking place, there is no question of being sorry or happy because of the ways of material nature. After all, since we are being carried away by these waves, what's the meaning of being jubilant or morose? One who is fully conversant with the laws of nature is never jubilant or morose because of nature's activities. Because in material world, everything goes in a cycle. And as here it is, we are being carried away by the waves of material nature. So just like if we are in a river and being caught in the waves, so sometimes we'll be up, sometimes we'll be down, underwater, then the suffering is there. Then we are up, then we are very happy. Oh, see, I'm enjoying, I'm okay. And then next moment we would be underwater again suffering. So this is all temporary actually. Krishna advises that one be tolerant, tanstitikshasva bharat. Following this advice of Krishna's, one should not be morose or unhappy because of circumstantial changes. This is a symptom of a devotee. A devotee carries out his duty in Krishna consciousness and is never unhappy in awkward circumstances. He has full faith that in such circumstances, Krishna protects his devotee. Therefore, a devotee never deviates from his prescribed duty of devotional service. The material qualities of jubilation and moroseness are present even in the demigods, who are very highly situated in the upper planetary system. Therefore, when one is undisturbed by the so-called favorable and unfavorable circumstances of this material world, he should be understood to be Brahmabhuta, or self-realized. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmabhuta Prasannatma, one who is transcendently situated, at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. When one is undisturbed by material circumstances, he should be understood to be on the transcendental stage, above the reactions of the three modes of material nature. So that is the stage we have to achieve. We do get disturbed by negative things in our life or something that is not going according to our plans, and it gives us distress. And we get happy when things are according to our plans or things are seemingly in our favor. It's all temporary. Time keeps on changing. So one has to come above, go beyond this, undisturbed by the so-called favorable and unfavorable circumstances of this material world. Because one has to come to the level of spirituality where everything is same. Everything is, it's not like in spiritual world there is no unfavorable circumstances. There are seemingly unfavorable. Because a devotee, he just never loses the sight or faith in Krishna. That's it. Those who are associates. Something seemingly unfavorable happens, but it just draws them closer to Krishna. That's all. So that's a stage we want to achieve. Na vayam manyamana namatmanam tatra sadhanam girova sadhu shocyanam grihino marmatadana. You demigods think that your own selves are the cause of your attaining fame and victory. Because of your ignorance, saintly persons feel sorry for you. Therefore, although your words afflict the heart, we do not accept them. So this is the level of Bali Maharaj. He's a Mahajan actually. And that is why he's a Mahajan. He's an authority. He knows, although he's a leader of the demons, not even just a demon, he's a leader of the demons. But he knows the philosophy. Shri Shukuvacha, iti akshipya vibhum viro, nara chair vira mardana, akarna purnair ahandaksha, parahatam puna. Shukdev Goswami said, after this rebuking Indra, king of heaven, with sharp words, Bali Maharaj, who could subdue any other hero, drew back to his ear the arrows known as Naratas. and attacked Indra with these arrows. Then he again chastised Indra with strong words. Evam nirakrito devo vairina tatyavadina namrishyat tad adhikshepam totrahat ivadvipaha. Since Maharaj Bali's rebukes were truthful, King Indra did not at all become sorry, just as an elephant beaten by its driver's rod does not become agitated. So even in the middle of battlefield, there's exchange of philosophy going on. And Indra did not become sorry. He did not just give up his fighting, but he did not feel bad either. He was neutral. Praharat kulisham tasmamogham paramardana sayanone patat bhumo chinna paksha. When Indra, the defeater of enemies, released his infallible thunderbolt scepter at Bali Maharaj with a desire to kill him, Bali Maharaj indeed fell to the ground with his airplane like a mountain with its wings cut off. So Bali Maharaj fell down from with his aeroplane. In many descriptions in Vedic literature, it is found that mountains also fly in the sky with wings. When such mountains are dead, they fall to the ground where they stay as very large dead bodies. So this we had studied earlier also when it was said Indra used to cut off the wings of the mountains. Why? Because these mountains would fly, and wherever they would land, they would kill so many people under their weight. So here also it is mentioned like a mountain with its wings cut off. So mountains could fly. Actually, I was listening to a lecture, and Prabhupada disciple, and he said Prabhupada once went from New York to Gitanagari here in America. Gitanagari is in Pennsylvania. So from New York, it might be maybe 4 or 5 hours drive. So when they reached, and Gitanagari, where our farm community is, it's a little bit hilly area. So Prabhupada was going in the car. So then he looked at one mountain, and he said, "Oh, this mountain had wings." And the devotees are looking, where, how did Prabhupada see that? We don't see anything. Of course, Prabhupada has divine vision. So that proves this thing mentioned in the Bhagavatam. And many times people will say, it's all mythology. Mountains with wings, who has ever heard of? Who has ever seen something like that? This is all nonsense. It doesn't make sense. So Vedic scriptures are full of this myth. So when people, or sometimes devotees also, because in the beginning people didn't have faith and they were reading new things, they went to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, what does it mean? It doesn't make sense. And one answer Prabhupada would give was, Acharyas have accepted it. So Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, but Baldev Vidyabhushan, all Acharyas, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, they have accepted Bhagavatam as it is, whatever is mentioned in the shlokas. Shukdev Goswami, Sut Goswami, all the 88,000 sages, Parikshit Maharaj, Narad Muni, everybody has accepted it. And Prabhupada said, do you think you know better than them? See, just because we can see the mountain with its wings, doesn't mean it didn't exist. It's something lacking on our part. So that's why Prabhupada again and again insisted. That's why we get the knowledge in a disciplic succession, in a downward process. Downward means coming in the parampara. And that's it. Then we are on the safe side. We are on the right side. Just like maybe even in our lifetime, maybe even 30 years ago, if somebody had said, oh, there are devices where you can talk, not just talk to the person thousands of miles away. You can see him also, and you can record him also. And people would go, you are crazy. There's no such thing. Phone was there, but it was still the phone with that round thing, and we could dial. That was if we showed that kind of phone to today's kids, they won't even know how to handle that phone. So what to speak of? And not even 30, or if you go even little beyond, maybe 100 years ago, nobody had even thought of telephones. And what to speak of smartphones. But now they are here. So similarly, so many things are there. We just don't know. We don't know. So we just go with the knowledge given in the scriptures, and that's it. Sakhayam patitam drishtva jambo bali sakha suhrit abhyayat sohridam sakhyor hatasyapi samacharan. When the demon Jambhasura saw that his friend Bali had fallen, he appeared before Indra, the enemy, just to serve Bali Maharaj with friendly behavior. Sasingvaha asadya gadam udyamya ramhasa jatra vadadaya chakram gajam cha sumahabalaha. The greatly powerful Jambhasur, carried by a lion, approached Indra and forcefully struck him on the shoulder with his club. He also struck Indra's elephant. Gada prahara vyapito rasham vivalito gajaha janubhyam dharanim sprishva kashmalam parmam yayo. Being beaten by Jambhasura club, Indra's elephant, Airavat, was confused and aggrieved. Thus, it touched its knees to the ground and fell unconscious. Wow, we can only imagine how powerful Jambhasura must be. The elephant fell down and fell unconscious. Tato ratho matalina haribhir dash shatar vrita anito dvipam utsrijya ratham aruruhe vibhu. Thereafter Matali, Indra's chariot driver, brought Indra's chariot, which was drawn by 1,000 horses. Indra then left his elephant and got onto the chariot. Tasya tat pujayan karma yantur danava sattamaha shulena jvalata tamtu smay mano ahannan mridhe. Appreciating Matali's service, Jambhasura, the best of the demons, smiled. Nonetheless, he struck Matali in the battle with a trident of blazing fire. Sehe rujam sudurmasham sattvam alambya Matalihi Indro Jambhasya sankruddho vajren apahara icharaha. Although the pain was extremely severe, Matali tolerated it with great patience. Indra, however, became extremely angry at Jambhasura. He struck Jambhasura with his thunderbolt and thus severed his head from his body, killed him. Jambham shrutva hatam tasya gyatayo naradadrishe namuchishcha balahapakas tatra pestus tvaranvitaha. When Narad Rishi informed Jambhasura's friends and relatives that Jambhasura had been killed, the three demons named Namochi, Bala, and Pak arrived on the battlefield in great haste. So Narad Muni was there. He was watching the whole battle. And he informed the relatives and friends of Jambhasura that he was killed by Indra. Now somebody will ask, why Narad Muni had to go and deliver the message? Nobody asked him. Narad Muni is independent. No, he doesn't need anybody's permission. Why he went? Because he wanted other demons also to be killed. So he went and incited them. What? You're sitting here? Your friend Jambasura is dead. Vacho bhi parusharindram mardayantyo asya marmasu shararava kiran megha dhara bhiriv parvatam. Rebuking Indra with harsh, cruel words that were piercing to the heart. These demons showered him with arrows just as torrents of rain wash a great mountain. Harindash shatanya jo haryashvasya balah shareh tavad bhirar dayamasa yug palaghu hastavan. Quickly handling the situation on the battlefield, the demon Bala put all of Indra's 1,000 horses into tribulation by simultaneously piercing them all with an equal number of arrows. 1,000 horses, all pierced by this Bala. Shatabhyam matalim pako ratham savyavam prithak sakrit sandhana mokshena tadad adbhutam abhud rane. Pak, another demon, attacked both the chariot with all its paraphernalia and the chariot driver Matali by fitting 200 arrows on his bow and releasing them all simultaneously. This was indeed a wonderful act on the battlefield. No wonder Shukdev Goswami is describing the whole battle. He could have just skipped it. Oh, this is so wonderful that he is describing it. Namuchi pancha dashabhi swarna punkhair maheshubhi ahatya vyan tat sankhya satoya ivto yadaha. Then Namuchi, another demon, attacked Indra and injured him with 15 very powerful golden feathered arrows, which roared like a cloud full of water. Sarvata Sharakutena Shakram Sarathim Chadyama Sura Sura Pravrit Suryam Ivambudaha. Other demons covered Indra along with his chariot and chariot driver with incessant showers of arrows, just as clouds cover the sun in the rainy season. See, Indra, we all just hear about Indra that he is very lusty and he is just after apsaras, or he is after the sages who are doing so much of tapasya. He is fearing that they will take over his position, or he is committing offenses against the Lord. No, he's king of the demigods. And so many demons attacked him together, and he has to fight with all of them. Not an easy position of Indra. Alakshayam tastatamtiva vihvala vichukrush shur devgana sahanuga anayaka shatru balena nirjita vanik patha bhinna navo yatharnave. The demigods, being severely oppressed by their enemies and being unable to see Indra on the battlefield, were very anxious. Having no captain or leader, they began lamenting like traders in a wrecked vessel in the midst of the ocean. They're thinking, there is no captain, where is our leader? From this statement, it appears that in the upper planetary system, there is shipping and that traders there engage in navigation as their occupational duty. Sometimes, as on this planet, these traders are shipwrecked in the middle of the ocean. It appears that even in the upper planetary system, such calamities occasionally take place. The upper planetary system in the creation of the Lord is certainly not vacant or devoid of living entities. From Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand that every planet is full of living entities, just as Earth is. There is no reason to accept that on other planetary systems there are no living beings. So just because, again, our scientists or their wonderful tools, equipments, instruments cannot see them, doesn't mean they don't exist. ततस्तुरा षाडिषु बद्ध पंचराद विनिर्गता शाश्वर रथ ध्वजाग्रणी बभौ दिशा खम पृथ्वीं चरोचयन् स्वतेजसा सूर्य इव क्षपात्यये. Thereafter, Indra released himself from the cage of the network of arrows, appearing with his chariot, flag, horses, chariot driver, and thus pleasing the sky, the earth, and all directions. He shone effulgently like the sun at the end of the night. Indra was bright and beautiful in the vision of everyone. So sun at the end of the night is like orangish color. It looks very beautiful. And sun coming out means it's dissipating all darkness. And this is how Indra came out. Nirikshya pratanam deva pararabhyarartita ranim udyachad ripum hantum vajram vajradharo rusha. When Indra, who's known as Vajradhara, the carrier of the thunderbolt, saw his own soldiers so oppressed by the enemies on the battlefield, he became very angry. Thus he took up his thunderbolt to kill the enemies. Sotene vashtadharena shirasi malapakayo Gyatinam Pashatam Raja Jahara Janyan Ayam. O King Parikshit, King Indra used his thunderbolt to cut off the heads of both Bal and Pak in the presence of all their relatives and followers. In this way, he created a very fearful atmosphere on the battlefield. Namuchistad vadham drishtva shoka marshurushanvitaha Yaghasur Indram Nripate Chakara Parmodyamam. O king, when Namuchi, another demon, saw the killing of both Bal and Pak, he was full of grief and lamentation. Thus he angrily made a great attempt to kill Indra. Ashmasaramayam Shulam Ghanta Vadhema Bhushanam Pragriyabhyadravat Krudho Hato Asiti Vidarjayan Rahinyont Devarajaya Nindan Mrigradiva. Being angry and roaring like a lion, the demon Namuchi took up steel spear, which was mounted with bells and decorated with ornaments of gold. He loudly cried, "Now you're killed." Thus coming before Indra to kill him, Namuchi released his weapon. So it had bells also. Tata padat gagan tale mahajavam vichichude haririshu bhi sahasradha tamahan rip kulishena kandte rushan with stri dashpati shiroharan. O king, when Indra, king of heaven, saw this very powerful spear falling toward the ground like a blazing meteor, he immediately cut it to pieces with his arrows. Thus, being very angry, he struck Namuchi's shoulder with his thunderbolt to cut off Namuchi's head. Na tasya tvacham api vajra urjito bibhed yah surpati noj seritaha tad adbhutam paramati vire vritribhit tiraskrito Namuchi shirodharat tvachan. Although King Indra hurled his thunderbolt at Namuchi with great force, it could not even pierce his skin. It is very wonderful that the famed thunderbolt that had pierced the body of Vritrasura could not even slightly injure the skin of Namuchi's neck, because he had some benedictions. Tasmad Indro abhivichedror vajrah prati hato yataha kimidam deva yogena bhutam loka vimohanam. When Indra saw the thunderbolt return from the enemy, he was very much afraid. He began to wonder whether this had happened because of some miraculous superior power. Indra's thunderbolt is invincible, and therefore, when Indra saw that it had returned without doing any injury to Namuchi, he was certainly very much afraid. What happened here? येन मे पूर्वमद्रीणां पक्षच्छेद प्रजात्यये कृतो निविशतां भार पतत्रः पततां भुवि. Indra thought, formerly when many mountains flying in the sky with wings would fall to the ground and kill people, I cut their wings with the same thunderbolt. So this we had discussed. Tapah saramayam twashtram vritro yena vipatita anya chapi balopeta sarvastrar akshatvachaha. Vritrasura was the essence of the austerities undergone by Twashta. Yet the thunderbolt killed him. Indeed, not only he, but also many other stalwart heroes whose very skin could not be injured even by all kinds of weapons were killed by the same thunderbolt. Soyam pratihato vajro maya mukto asuryalpake naham tada dade dandam brahma tejo apiyakaranam. But now, although the same thunderbolt has been released against a less important demon, it has been ineffectual. Therefore, although it was as good as a Brahmastra, it has now become useless like an ordinary rod. I shall therefore hold it no longer. He thought, thunderbolt has no power now. Iti shakram vishidantam aha vagda sharirini nayam shushka ratho nadrar vadham arhati danava. Shukdev Goswami continued, while the morose Indra was lamenting in this way, an ominous, unembodied voice said from the sky, this demon Namuchi is not to be annihilated by anything dry or moist. So nothing dry, so thunderbolt is dry, cannot kill him, or moist, anything watery cannot kill him. Mayasmay yadvaro datto mrityur nirvadra shushkayo ato anyashchintaniyaste upayo maghvana ripu. The voice also said, O Indra, because I have given this demon the benediction that he will never be killed by any weapon that is dry or moist, you have to think of another way to kill him. So some demigod, I don't know who appeared, and he said, I have given this benediction, but I cannot tell you how to kill him. You have to think of, because he did tapasya and he pleased me. Tam devim giram akaranyam magvan susamahita dhyayan phenamatha pashyad upayam ubhayatmakam. After hearing the ominous voice, Indra with great attention began to meditate on how to kill the demon. He then saw that foam would be the means, for it is neither moist nor dry. Because the fighting was going on at the banks of the ocean or beach. So he saw the foam and he said, yes, foam would be the means because it is neither dry nor moist. Na shushkena chadrena jahar namuche shirha tam tushtu urmunigana malescha vikaran vibhum. Thus Indra, king of heaven, severed Namuchi's head with a weapon of foam, which was neither dry nor moist. Then all the sages satisfied Indra, the exalted personality, by showering flowers and garlands upon him, almost covering him. In this regard, the Shruti mantra says, Apama Phinin Namuchi Shira Indra Adarya. Indra killed Namuchi with watery foam, which is neither moist nor dry. See, they all have to think of some things out of the box and then keep going. Gandharva Mukhyo Jagatur Vishwasur Paravasu Devadundu Bhayo Nedur Nartakyo Nandriturmada. Vishwasu and Paravasu, the two chiefs of the Gandharva, sang in great happiness. The kettle drums of the demigods sounded and the Apsaras danced in jubilation. Anyapi evam pratidvandvan vayavagnervarunadaya sudyama surasuran mrigan kesarino yatha. Vayu, Agni, Varuna, and the other demigods began killing the demons who opposed them, just as lions kill deer in a forest. Brahmana preshito devan devarshir narado dripta varyamas vibudhana drishtva danav sankshyam. O king, when Lord Brahma saw the imminent total annihilation of the demons, he sent a message with Narad, who went before the demigods to make them stop fighting. Shri Narad Uvacha Bhavadbhiramritam Praptam Narayan Bhujashraya Shriya Samedhita Sarva Uparamat Vigraha. The great sage Narad said, all of you demigods are protected by the arms of Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by his grace you have gotten the nectar. By the grace of the goddess of fortune, you're glorious in every way. Therefore, please stop this fighting. So why Brahmaji wanted the fight to stop? Why he wanted to protect the demons? Because they are also part of his creation. And unnecessary killing is not good. So that's why he asked Indra and Party to stop. Shri Shukuvacha Sayamya Manyu Sarambham Manyanto Muneravacha Upagiya Mananu Charar Yahu Sarve Tirvishtapam. Shri Shukdev Goswami said, accepting the words of Narad, the demigods gave up their anger and stopped fighting. Being praised by their followers, they returned to their heavenly planets. Yavashishtarane tasmin Naradanumatena te balim vipannam adaya astam girim upagaman. Following the order of Narad Muni, whatever demons remained on the battlefield took Bali Maharaj, who was in a precarious condition, to the hill known as Ashtagiri. Tatra vinishta vayavana vidyamana shirodharan ushna jivya masa sanjivanaya so vidyaya. There on that hill, Shukracharya brought to life all the dead demonic soldiers who had not lost their heads, trunks, and limbs. He achieved this by his own mantra known as Sanjivani. So those demons who had not lost their heads, trunks, and limbs, they were brought back to life. Balishcho shanasasprishta pratyapannendriya smritihi parajito api na khila lok tattva vishakshana. Bali Maharaj was very experienced in universal affairs. When he regained his senses and memory by the grace of Shukracharya, he could understand everything that had happened. Therefore, although he had been defeated, he did not lament. It is significant that Bali Maharaj is here said to be very experienced. Although defeated, he was not at all sorry, for he knew that nothing can take place without the sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's knowledge or realization we need to have. We read it again and again in Prabhupada's books, but still we lose faith and something not so good. I won't say something negative, because Krishna is there, nothing negative can happen. But something not so good happens in our lives. We forget it. We become sorry. We become morose. We lament. We lose faith in Krishna also. But nothing can take place without the sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since he was a devotee, he accepted his defeat without lamentation. As stated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Bhagavad Gita, karma evadikaraste. Everyone in Krishna consciousness should execute his duty without regard for victory or defeat. One must execute his duty as ordered by Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master. Anukulena Krishna Anushilana. In first class devotional service, one always abides by the order and will of Krishna. And he keeps going. That's it. And not just keeps going, he serves the Lord, he pays obeisances with his body, mind, and words jubilantly, even though apparently nothing is going right in the life. It still goes on. So that's what Krishna loves. That's what he wants to see. Having full faith in it. So thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th canto, 11th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled King Indra Annihilates the Demons. So we still have some time. We can start 12th chapter. The Mohini Murti incarnation bewilders Lord Shiva. Another beautiful chapter. Shri Badarayana Ruvacha Vrishadhvajo Nishamyetam Yoshid Rupina Dhanava Mohayatva Surganan Hari Somam Apayayat Vrisham Aruya Girisha Sarva Bhuta Ganer Vrita Sahadevya Yayo Drashtam Yatraste Madhusudana. Shukdev Goswami said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, in the form of a woman, captivated the demons and enabled the demigods to drink the nectar. After hearing of these pastimes, Lord Shiva, who was carried by a bull, went to the place where Madhusudan, the Lord, resides. Accompanied by his wife Uma and surrounded by his companions, the ghost, Lord Shiva, went there to see the Lord's form as a woman. See, Lord Shiva is such a pure devotee, very exalted Vaishnava. So sometimes devotees, they just have special relationship with the Lord. So they have just different desires. So he went there to see the Lord's form as a woman. And he was accompanied by his wife, Uma. It is mentioned here. Sabha jito bhagavata sadaram somya bhava subhavishto vachedam pratipujya smayam harim. The Supreme Personality of Godhead welcomed Lord Shiva and Uma with great respect. And after being seated comfortably, Lord Shiva duly worshipped the Lord and smilingly spoke as follows. Shri Mahadev Vacha Deva Deva Jagad Vyaped Jagadisha Jaganmaya Sarveshamapi Bhavanam Tomatma Heturishvara. Lord Mahadev said, O chief demigod among the demigods, O all-pervading Lord, the master of the universe, by your energy you are transformed into the creation. You are the root and efficient cause of everything. You are non-material. Indeed, you are the super soul, the supreme living force of everything. Therefore, you are Parameshvara, the supreme controller of all controllers. See, any time we have something to ask from the Lord, first, everybody, what they do, they glorify the Lord. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, resides within the material world as Sattva Gunavatar. Lord Shiva is Tamo Gunavatar, and Lord Brahma is Rajo Gunavatar. But although Lord Vishnu is among them, he is not in the same category. Lord Vishnu is Deva Deva, the chief of all the demigods. Since Lord Shiva is in the material world, the energy of the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, includes Lord Shiva. Lord Vishnu is therefore called Jagat Vyapi, the all-pervading Lord. Lord Shiva is sometimes called Maheshwara, and so people think that Lord Shiva is everything. But here Lord Shiva addresses Lord Vishnu as Jagadish, the master of the universe. Lord Shiva is sometimes called Vishveshwara, but here he addresses Lord Vishnu as Jaganmaya, indicating that even Vishveshwara is under Lord Vishnu's control. Lord Vishnu is the master of the spiritual world, yet he controls the material world also, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Maya Dakshina Prakriti. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are also sometimes called Ishvara, but the Supreme Ishvara or Parameshvara is Lord Vishnu or Krishna. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Paramah Krishna. The Supreme Lord is Krishna, Lord Vishnu. Everything in existence works in proper order because of Lord Vishnu. Even Paramanu, the small atoms, work because of Lord Vishnu's presence within them. So Lord Shiva is first is going to glorify Lord Vishnu and then submit his request. Anyway, we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Probably beautiful color. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I know. So wonderful.
I mean, it was known that Samudra Manthan has happened, and a lot of people know what has come out and all this. It's so descriptive, so elaborative. Never known the fight between Indra and Asuras and all.
Yeah,
So good.
yeah, that's right. Thank you, bro. Okay, I guess we can stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.